A number of reasons, actually. I'm local resident, so this is on my doorstep, and I am interested in what's going on in my neighbourhood. So, first of all, just local interest. Second of all, I chair a thing called the Queen Edith Community Forum, and it's our job to make sure that people in the neighbourhood know what's going on. So it's a dissemination role, it's networking. And thirdly, I'm curious about the city do. I'm curious about the function it's performing and our ability as citizens to influence it, and coming along to events like this is a really good chance to find out how it's all working. Okay, so Queen Edith Community Forum has existed in one form or another for many years, but it had kind of got to a point where it was dying on its feet, and this time last year, 3 of us really decided to pick it up and see if we could reinvigorate it. Queen Edith is a lovely part of the city to live in, but people do tend to go out rather than make things happen here. And what's been really interesting is the growth of a number of separate little initiatives to try and regain some community identity. So we've got the Friends of Rock Road Library, who are doing great things. We've got the Friends of Nightingale Park, who are doing great things. And hopefully, Forum is a complement to them. And we're not here to replace our city councillors, county councillors. We're not here to roll our sleeves up and get involved with potholes and parking. We're about trying to build community identity and community spirit. The major way we've done that in the past year is by reinvigorating the Queen Edith Community News, which is now put together by our fantastic editor Chris Rand. Goes out 3 times a year to every house in the ward, so that's 4,000 houses. And on the back of that, we've then asked people to subscribe to our email listing, so we can now get information out to people in between those 3 paper editions. And we're also trying to put on a programme of events, both informative. We want to hold a hustings in advance of the City Council elections in May, but also fun, to get people out, get them meeting their neighbours, get them doing stuff that will make this a more vibrant place to live, if you like. Okay, so you probably gathered from what I've just said about the community forum, I really am a great believer in grassroots activity. And unfortunately, I think the City Deal is kind of the antithesis of that, because it's a group of people who aren't even really in any meaningful sense accountable to the local electorate. So my understanding is you have the head of the City Council, Lewis Herbert, the head of the County Council, Steve Count, and a representative from South Cambs District Council. Now, the only way you can signal to Lewis that you're unhappy with what the City Deal is doing is if you live in his ward and choose to eject him from his seat. Now, for me, that's not a direct enough level of representation to make me feel comfortable that I can get my voice heard. And God knows I'm quite bullshit and quite articulate, and if I feel like I can't get my voice heard, then, you know, a lot of other people don't even really understand where the City Deal sits in the local government landscape. They have no idea of its purpose, no idea of its composition, and no idea of its day-to-day activities. And coming to a session like this, it's partly about the content of this particular cycleway scheme, which is under discussion, but it's also about trying to help people make the connection between what's going on and who's driving what's going on. So I think if I had some feedback for the City Deal, it would be that they need to be explaining themselves at an absolutely basic level if they want buy-in. If they're happy to go ahead and just do stuff without buy-in, then that's their call. But if they want buy-in, the communications needs to be a lot more thorough and a lot more and have a lot fewer assumptions about what people's existing knowledge is.